Hey everyone, happy Monday. I'm so excited I get to see everyone and I want to go ahead and share this to my personal page. Hang on one second and then we'll get started. Just a second. Make sure it's even showing up here. Here we go. Okay, so share to my personal page. Internet is slow. Okay, cool. And then I'll share it into the group. And then what I wanted to talk about today is actually something that I think a lot of us, a lot of you out there want this, but the way that you're going about actually, creating a quantum leap forward in your business keeps most people from ever having that. So I'm going to actually talk about what it does take to have something and also just define what I'm referring to as a quantum leap. So quantum leap is really, in my definition of it, where you're going from where you are now to something that's definitely not one level higher, but, multiple levels higher. So, for myself, like one of the biggest quantum leaps that I had was I went from making like $5,000 to $7,000 a month to never having a month below, it was $2 or something short of 13,000 the month after that. And then, continuing to go from there. So things like that, where it's like you go from, and actually, ironically, the other quantum leap that I experienced was going from pretty much nothing to 5,000 to 7,000, right? That was actually, until this moment, didn't even think about that. But both of those times were preceded, and then actually going from, I'll say the next one was going from, 15K months, like right in that 12 to 15K, all the way up to 35K months and beyond. So I've experienced this several times in my business, and I've experienced in life too, where it's like you're in one space and even in my relationship, I was in terrible relationships. And then when I manifested my relationship with my husband, it was like a huge shift forward, right? There's something I did every single time. And my clients who have, created things like one of my clients went from 10K to 70K months. That was because of the same principles. It's really when you have this in place that you can create that. So let me just share this in the group. I still didn't do that because I got excited and forgot. Okay, so share in a group. And if you guys are not in our group, it's called Illuminate the Consciousness Revolution, and it's amazing. So this is going to be in there now. And so basically when you're wanting to have a big jump forward, and also there has to be a piece in place to know that if you get too attached to what it's going to look like, this quantum leap, or, when you're wanting to just have a big, shift, you don't want to get so nitty gritty on the details, right? You don't want to be, I didn't say, hey, I'm going to go from 7,000 to, 13,000 plus during that month, back in 2015 or whatever. That wasn't what I said the intention for. The intention was that, I wasn't going to limit myself to say like, oh, so I have to do an $8,000 a month or this. I actually just showed up with a bigger message, with a bigger program, with some, really big, bold actions, a lot more, doing video. Like there were a lot of changes in who I became and who I stepped into, which actually created that. So the first thing is when you want to experience something different, and this is all of us fall into this, right? And we keep showing up, hey, Sherry, and we keep showing up the same, right? So if you want to do something different and have a different experience that's radically different, but you're showing up pretty much the same way, that's not going to be the way, that it's going to happen. So the first thing is doing the internal work, right? Starting to see yourself as that person who already has whatever it is that you're looking to create. And I suggest not having like a dollar amount, that you have to have that number, but it's really to either, just kind of blow up in your business and go from being relatively unknown to having, more people following you, getting clients with more ease, whatever the big leap is, right? Every time that, that I've actually set that, it's going internal first and starting to change the view and getting super clear about how I want to show up differently, who I need to become to have a bigger impact. So you really want to come, especially as spiritual entrepreneurs, we want to help people, right? We want to help people, but it has to be also about how we want to feel in our business. And maybe you want to be seen more as a leader and have, more people who are out there and really being impacted by your message. So it's really starting to, go internally and do the work around actually experiencing it before you have it. So you would want to go into some meditation and see yourself as that person who's making a lot more money, having a lot more impact, see the things that you're doing, see if there's any resistance to actually, showing up that way. There might be something that you see in that vision that really comes to you, and you're like, oh geez, I haven't been speaking, and no, I have a dress on. So you said I'm without clothes. No, you might wish, but no, that is not happening. But yeah, so it's starting out to notice, where you want to be and what calls to you. So it might be something scary, like, hey, you've never spoken before on platforms, but you see yourself speaking and you're being called to that, or it's a live event, or it's, something different. So things are going to come in to you as well that are available for you to be able to act on and to grow from. And then you will also, want to see that, is there resistance? Do you have spaces where you're really resistant to this next level, which most of us do, right? So every time I've had a big quantum leap, I've had to work through some beliefs around, that it may be, extremely hard, or, you have to work harder. That was one early on, when I went from the 7K to the 13K, and then, again, from the 13 to 15K all the way to 35 and beyond. Those were two big places where I really did have to release beliefs. I had to see, if there was anything that I was afraid of, to have a massive jump forward. And each time there was something that I had to shift, and a different way I had to see myself from, early on, to see myself as somebody who was a six-figure earner and who could have that type of impact and who could be a leader. Around that time I started, to create a community and to build my following. It was all in that same energy. And it was all because my identity that I had before wouldn't support the next level. So the first thing is to go into your identity and see what you can take with you and what parts of your identity need to shift in order for you to have this new reality and to have the big quantum leap. So that's the very first thing that if you want to have a totally different experience, you cannot take your story of yourself and your identity of yourself today and have a completely different experience, because what you have, who you're serving, how much you're making is congruent with the identity that you have now. And so to have something totally different, you have to actually do that internal identity shift and be able to see yourself and believe in yourself as something bigger and beyond what you've been up until now. So that's really, honestly, the most important piece. And then from that space, it's going out and taking new actions. It's really, taking some risks there, trying something new. Maybe it's hiring a mentor that's, really works with people who are a bit of a step above that, but that you can see yourself in. Or maybe it's, starting to reach out to people that you could possibly speak to their communities, growing your reach, growing your influence, writing an article for a publication that you might be a little bit nervous about submitting it to. A lot of times they do get accepted, right? So it's just putting yourself out there in new ways, but ways that feel like they are congruent to the person that you're stepping into. And it's taking the time to get really clear about who is it you want to be? What is it you want to experience? Because really, a lot of it comes down to your business should be an extension of you, and it should be an extension of the highest version of you. And, when you actually spend time in meditation and connect with your higher self, see what that looks like. Ask your higher self what needs to come forward for you to have the greatest impact that you can and to be the best version of you and your own energetic, signature and blueprint in this world. Each one of us has a different purpose. Each one of us has a different impact. Each one of us has different strengths. And some of your strengths you may not even know yet. For myself, I was very shy when I was younger. I really didn't, was very introverted and never wanted to be the center of attention. I would have never thought as a child that I would ever be someone who's speaking in front of people but I loved to serve people and to help people one-on-one. I, started out, in going into the therapy arena thinking that was, the way that it was going to be. But once I found coaching and I realized how much more powerful and transformational and how it allowed me to use my psychic gifts and other things in that too, I really shifted that. So your ultimate representation, how you're going to show up in the world, may be, very much against how you're raised or who you thought you were as a child and stuff like that. So it does take some effort to recreate your identity in a way that actually works for you and that best serves you. Because most of us, the identity that we've, originally formed was just based off of, whatever experience as a child, how people reacted to us, our family, beliefs around us. And it isn't really true for us or the most aligned for us. So it gives you an opportunity in your business to many times probably reinvent yourself. If you're going to go to the highest level to have the biggest impact, you're going to have many versions of yourself along the way. The version of you that, goes from, say you're like stuck at 1,000 a month with a lot of money blocks and then goes on to create six figures is a new version. The version of you that creates, 500,000 a year and massive impact is another version. The version of you that, takes us to a 7-figure platform and, increases it to international influence is another version. And if you choose to, create multiple 7 figures and actually become, an international thought leader that's like one of the top in your industry, that's another version too. So it's really different versions. They're all you, but they're higher versions of your potential, higher versions of yourself. And that's just what I wanted to talk about today, because it's been on my mind to really, because I truly do believe, and I've seen it with clients time and time again when they're open to it, and I've seen it with myself, that quantum leaps are absolutely possible and available, but it does take a radical shift in the way you view yourself, a radical shift in the way you show up, a radical shift in your vibration, and an unbelievable amount of faith and the willingness to have faith even when it looks like it's not happening, because that's when the radical shift and that's when the quantum leap really does show up, right? When you keep the faith, no matter what's showing up on the outside, you just keep, following your intuition, you keep taking those bigger actions, you keep showing up as the new you. All of a sudden, it's just like all of a sudden one day it shifts and there you are. So yeah, so Georgina says that she used to be an introvert. She's now an introvert, but was an extrovert as a child. It's the extrovert part of my persona that supports me more. Okay, there. So, it's sometimes, and here's the thing, we have different parts of our personality that come out at different times. And so I'm definitely still an introvert. I haven't really changed that way. But when it comes to connecting online and connecting with clients, I bring out, there's an extrovert side to me too, right? And I want to connect. So it's like the bigger picture is, in order to help people, sometimes you really have to show up, and the bigger vision can pull you forward. So it's, personality is developed, and we all have everything, I feel like, in our personality in a lot of ways. But if we can capitalize on our strengths, so if you're an amazing writer, you write more. If you're a really great speaker, you can show up on video. If you're great at connecting, you can make connections and end up, with collaborations. It's just really figuring out the things that you are good at, and many of them you may not know yet. So it's also being willing to experiment and try new things and get support when you need it on your path. So that's all I really had to say today, and I love you all. I'm going to go ahead to my workout, but hopefully you guys are having a great Monday and a great start to the month. We're now almost halfway through. And I will talk to you guys soon. Hopefully I'll do another video before the end of the week. Bye.